welcome to my channel, SteveO the Window Cleaner. Today we are talking all about the best high pole work techniques. I'm going to show you 3 techniques. These are techniques I've learned mostly at this big job that we do every quarter. We've had this job now for about 5 years. We do a bunch of garage doors, a bunch of interior office work, and a lot of stuff on the outside, including high pole work. Now, the reason we don't use the water-fed pole here, the TDS is extremely high. And for some reason, every time we've used water-fed pole here, it has just not been a good solution. So something we've done is we've just used high pole work, and it's worked really nice. So we're going to work with the double bend ledger. That's kind of the beginner technique. And then we'll move into the Accelerator 2.0 with the flick pad with an 18-inch brass channel. So let's get to it. Okay, so the 3 techniques here. We're going to start with the first technique. Usually I use 2 poles like this. This is a 03K micro pole and a Luke the Window Cleaner Timberwolf pole. So yes, these are carbon fiber poles. This makes it a lot easier, especially when fanning. So we're using the 16-inch double bend ledger, Sorbo Quicksilver channel, 18-inch. And basically what I'm doing is I'm feathering just a little bit at the top, lifting the squeegee on and off the glass to build up a little bit of solution, and then dragging down. I also have a fresh rubber when doing this, and that makes it a lot easier as far as gliding on the glass. But I would say this is the beginner technique. I used this technique for a long time before the Accelerator 2.0 came out, that handle from Moorman. And this technique worked, but I was never super happy with leaving the cloud at the top. I wanted something better to kind of cut in and not have to detail that, especially that high up after. So with the Moorman Accelerator 2.0, with the flick pad and the Ettore brass channel, the first technique, what I suggest is just cutting in from whatever side, left or right. You got to choose from the beginning, and just coming down. And with the brass channel and this handle, it closes out beautifully. It closes out actually better than the ledger with less effort. You don't have to lift the pole. And I just keep cutting over, and the last pull, usually that glass is so dry there that you can just do a straight pull and you don't have to detail. Sometimes you can go clean the frames with the rubber, but you do possibly run the risk of nicking your rubber. That's why I kind of like not using too much solution, but the runoff isn't too bad on these. So this next technique is kind of what I highly suggest as the best technique. And that is cutting in the same way as the second technique. And we're just going to close off the 2 sides and then fan the middle. I'll show you after this one the technique that I don't like doing that's quite a like this technique. But overall, this technique is pretty smooth with these tools, but sometimes at the bottom, your squeegee can catch. The channel caught there, so it's nice to have the flick pad because you can re-wet the window and then squeegee off your solution and have it look all good and not leave any skips. Now, this next technique that I'm going to show you, now the nice thing about having another pole with an 18-inch washer sleeve is it holds more water than the flick pad. But this next technique, dive bombing the sides and never leaving the glass at this height, can be kind of difficult, especially when it comes to closing out. You see I get a little bit of skips there, and that even happens when I do it on windows, you know, just at like 12 feet. But you see it kind of skips a lot. It's partially I was just having issues, I don't know. So I was trying to get it right because I was on video. I didn't want you guys to make fun of me. So you see I messed up there pretty much. But I just never liked that one. Closing off the 2 sides and just having the solution in the middle just goes a lot smoother. Now these windows I usually don't do like this. What I usually do is use the ledger. I didn't know until I watched this back that I was actually closing out good enough. But when I eventually remove the solution from the middle, I don't close out well. And that's because that ledge there is pretty big with the metal frame and that gray frame. It makes it hard to close out. So a more dependable tool to use is just to use the first technique with the ledger, and then you just go through and detail the top. And once again, it is nice having that 18-inch T-bar because you have way more solution in that, and that's an Ettore Pro Microfiber sleeve. And I have found those gloves to just, those sleeves to hold the most water out of any of the sleeves out there. So same technique, we're just feathering at the top a little bit, pulling down. I only give a small little angle to the channel so it doesn't leave lines, because if you do it too big with a fixed handle like this, you start to get really bad streaks on the area where it's dry. So just a little bit of pressure with the pole and the ledger, and that's about it. And I always just detail the tops on these. So we kind of ran through those first techniques kind of fast, but like to show you here, we have another area where you could only use the first basic technique. That ledge is too big to use a Moment Accelerator 2.0 handle with just a brass channel. I tried using the Dr. Angle here and it was just too wonky. Did not have a good amount of pressure to be able to keep it on the glass. So with, you know, areas like this, it's super nice just to be able to have your sleeve on one pole and then your ledger on the other pole, and just go through them. And you can actually get done pretty quick. It only took me probably, I would say 30 minutes to pull these upper windows at this place. I know you don't see all of them, but it just doesn't take that long. We do clean these windows every 3 months, so they're not too dirty. These ones do look into an area where there isn't any people, but there is a whole area that we do where all the offices are, and all the windows look great from all these techniques. It's really about using the right amount of pressure with the ledger that will allow you not to leave streaks. So to kind of end here with the techniques that we were going over for pretty much the last technique, it works pretty good at this height. You know what I say is that basically with the tools nowadays, you can almost do just as good on a pole as you can do by hand. And I think with anybody with just a little bit of practice with a carbon fiber pole, these tools, you could do this easily. It just flows really nicely on the glass. And I know I've talked a lot about it, but I kind of wanted to do more of a walkthrough of, you know, kind of exactly what the few techniques are that I use for just pulling at high heights, you know. And these windows right here are probably right at like 20 to 25 feet. They're not too high. But that's another reason why I don't like using the flick pad all the time when doing this, is sometimes you get your squeegee blade too wet too, and sometimes leave solution behind. But overall, that kind of sums it up as far as the 3 techniques used to do high pulling techniques. So to just kind of show you what I use there for the high pull technique. So our more basic tool is the double bin ledger. So this is a 16 inch, has 2 bins. It creates a real ease in closing out, but still at that height, you probably leave like a small amount like that, where with this, because there's really nothing underneath here, it closes out super nice. So I definitely suggest with this squeegee, more advanced users, but I think how they've made this squeegee, it makes it really easy even for new users to use. When you're using a double bin ledger, I suggest using a wood tip. That's the best way it holds on. It doesn't. For these ones, it holds on okay, but once you start getting pressure and once you start getting enough, it will release pretty easy. So you just want to make sure when you're closing out with it to not go too hard, because you will lose the ledger with a tip like this. So a wood tip really keeps it on a lot better. But that's just a little bit of overview of the tools used. And just so you guys know, I am a sales rep with Window Clean Resource now officially. So if you guys have any questions about tools, if you want to purchase tools through me, I can go into your cart, suggest things, suggest water fed stuff. I've worked with a lot of the Xero water fed stuff, so I'm well knowledgeable on that. So if you want to reach out to me to buy some tools and just to get my idea on some stuff, feel free to. I'll put my number, and you can reach me through Instagram or Facebook. My number is right here, and feel free to give me a call. That is my line for everything sales or everything SteveO wise. So please just don't call the business, but feel free to give me a call on that number, and I'll usually be available. I am still working with 2020 full time, so just know that. Other things going on too, but I really wanted to get into selling tools because I've been doing this YouTube thing for a long time, and it's, I think, time for like a new chapter of it. It's not going to change the channel in any kind of way. We're still going to be doing a lot of tool reviews, a lot of the stuff I've been doing, and I think if anything, it will help make this channel better, because maybe you guys don't know this, but like a good half or more of my content is based on questions you guys have asked. So you guys are a huge part of making this channel work, and I want to thank you. And it has pushed me beyond limits that I believed,
And now being a salesperson, being a sales rep with Window Cleaning Resource is truly an awesome thing. So feel free to reach out to me. If you can't reach me, please feel free to reach out to Jersey Josh, John Lee, Jordy, and Alex, all great, knowledgeable people in the window cleaning industry who can help you out tremendously. So have a good day, and we'll talk to you soon.